Welcome to the Golden Seams, where we, Gabe and Michae, your hosts, invite you to join us on a transformative journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Our podcast is all about helping you uncover your authentic self, find your true calling, and create prosperity in alignment with your deepest values and aspirations.
We're embarking into the realm of self-love and self-worth, guided by the illuminating wisdom of Brené Brown's The Gifts of Imperfection. Prepare to challenge societal expectations and embrace your authentic self as we delve into this groundbreaking work that has touched millions of lives worldwide. Through Brown's expertise for wholehearted living, we'll discover together how to let go of who we think we're supposed to be and embrace who we truly are. Welcome to Guidepost 10, Cultivating Laughter, Song, and Dance, Letting Go of Being Cool and Always in Control. Brené shares, as I sifted through my data, I asked myself two questions. Why are laughter, song, and dance so important to us? And is there some transformational element that they have in common? These were complicated questions to answer because yes, we yearn to laugh and sing and dance when we feel joy, but we also turn to these forms of expression when we feel lonely, sad, excited, in love, heartbroken, afraid, ashamed, confident, certain, doubtful, brave, grief, and ecstasy, just to name a few. I'm convinced that there's a song, a dance, and a path to laughter for every human emotion.
Brené shares with us the idea of collective ecstasy, from Barbara Ehrenreich's Dancing in the Streets, A History of Collective Joy. While most people would tell you that a life without laughter, music, and dance would be unbearable, it's easy to take these experiences for granted. Ehrenreich concludes that we are innately social beings, impelled almost instinctively to share our joy. I absolutely believe she is right. I also love the idea of collective ecstasy, especially now when we seem to be stuck in a state of collective fear and anxiety.
Brené shares, after a couple of years of analyzing her data, here's what she learned. Laughter, song, and dance create emotional and spiritual connection. They remind us of the one thing that truly matters when we are searching for comfort, celebration, inspiration, or healing. We are not alone.
Brené tells us, ironically, I learned the most about laughter during the 8 years that I was studying shame. Shame resilience requires laughter. In I Thought It Was Just Me, I refer to the kind of laughter that helps us heal as knowing laughter. Laughter is a spiritual form of communing. Without words, we can say to one another, I'm with you, I get it. True laughter is not the use of humor as self-deprecation or deflection. It's not the kind of painful laughter we sometimes hide behind. Knowing laughter embodies the relief and connection we experience when we realize the power of sharing our stories. We're not laughing at each other, but with each other. One of my favorite definitions of laughter comes from the writer Anne Lamott, who I once heard say, laughter is a bubbly, effervescent form of holiness. Amen.
Gabe, why do you think laughter, song, and dance are so important to us? Is there some transformational element that they have in common?
Well, certain shamanic traditions, where when somebody approaches a healer for a remedy, some of the first questions they ask them is, when was the last time you danced or sang or laughed? Because usually when you stop doing these things, it's indication of some form of soul loss or fragmentation, right? Leaving a piece of yourself behind at some moment in time.
Yes.
And there are different approaches to that. So it makes me wonder, with that approach, it's almost like asking somebody when they show up at the hospital, have you been drinking water? When was the last time you ate? Kind of thing. Because we're focused on the body. I don't know in what ways they're connected, but it seems to be sustenance for the soul.
I feel like music amplifies emotion. And so when we hear a musical score or something that's very moving, it can move you to tears. It can also move you to a state of fear. If you think of watching a film, it can move you to a state of peace. If it's the right music with the right tones, things like that. If someone has an incredibly powerful voice, I think of, for example, Whitney Houston. Wow. Incredible. Sade. These are amazing voices. And those are just two coming off the top of my head when I think of richness and incredible power. But then you go to someone like Eminem, and he's rapping, but there's still music behind it, and how powerful his words are, and how well he's extremely eloquent, but then you add the music in and the rhythm that he's giving us. And so I actually think music, it can be a form of programming yourself. If you're not feeling motivated, you can put on some music that makes you feel like moving, and you can all of a sudden get up and clean whatever you need to do the laundry, do the dishes, whatever it is on your plate. The other thing about dance and my perception on that is that moving the body moves the energy.
I very much agree with that.
I wonder if we replaced dance with exercise.
Yes, I bet you that one may not hit the vulnerability aspect. Freely expressing the soul, the connecting of the soul, the exercise, I think, might be able to become regimented.
Here's the other thing that I think is interesting. We know that water is programmable. You can put water on something and play music on it, and it will program that water. And we are 70% water as human beings. Our earth is mostly water. I really believe that we can program ourselves, our DNA, and our beings through these methods. And I think it's known information, but you can feel it if you really let yourself feel it. And the power of who we are comes through the energy and emotion of who we are, which translates into manifestation.
I have a hunch that if we're not taking initiative and choosing what we're putting into the program, maybe there are others who are.
Definitely. Brené talks about song. She says, "My life has a soundtrack, and the songs from that soundtrack can stir memories and provoke emotion in me like nothing else." She says the one thing that is universal about song is its ability to move us emotionally. Music reaches out and offers us connection, something we really can't live without.
Brené tells us about dancing. She says, "It didn't take me long to learn that dance is a tough issue for many people. Laughing hysterically can make us feel a little out of control, and singing out loud can make some of us feel self-conscious. But for many of us, there is no form of self-expression that makes us feel more vulnerable than dancing. It's literally full-body vulnerability. There's no question that some people are more musically inclined or coordinated than others. But I'm starting to believe that dance is in our DNA, a strong pull towards rhythm and movement. You can see this desire to move in children. Until we teach our children that they need to be concerned with how they look and with what other people think, they dance. Not always gracefully or with the beat, but always with joy and pleasure." Writer Mary Jo Putney says, "What one loves in childhood stays in the heart forever." If this is true, and I believe it is, then dance stays in our heart, even when our head becomes overly concerned with what people might think.
We extend our heartfelt gratitude and welcome to all of our listeners, subscribers, followers, and especially our cherished Patreon members. Your unwavering support and acts of sharing, whether through quotes, tags, or conversations, ripple out, touching lives and growing our community. Every gesture, no matter how small, resonates deeply and affirms the importance of this journey we're on together as we build and grow the Golden Seams community. You are the catalysts of change, and we're profoundly thankful for your presence and for having the courage to take just one step to begin embracing your true magnificence, especially if it's with us.
For full-length discussions, exclusive content, and easy-to-use tools designed to effortlessly support your authentic transformation, subscribe to our Patreon, The Golden Seams. Don't miss out. We welcome you to join our growing community and dive deeper into the topics you love. Experience The Golden Seams on Patreon and unlock the complete experience for yourself now.
Brené talks about being cool and always in control. She says, "A good belly laugh, singing at the top of your lungs, and dancing like no one is looking are unquestionably good for the soul. But as I mentioned, they are also exercises in vulnerability. There are many shame triggers around the vulnerability of laughing, song, and dance. The list includes the fear of being perceived as awkward, goofy, silly, spastic, uncool, out of control, immature, stupid, and foolish. For most of us, this is a pretty scary list. The gremlins are constantly there to make sure that self-expression takes a back seat to self-protection and self-consciousness. What will people think? Everyone is watching. Calm down. You look ridiculous. Get a hold of yourself.
Brené tells us women spoke about the dangers of being perceived as getting too loud or out of hand. I can't tell you how many women told me about the painful experience of throwing caution to the wind, only to be patronizingly told, "Whoa, settle down." Men were quick to point out the dangers of being perceived as out of control. One man told me, "Women say we should let loose and have fun. How attractive will they think we are if we get on the dance floor and look like assholes in front of the other guys? Or worse, your girlfriend's friends. It's easier to just hang back and act like you're not interested in dancing, even if you really want to."
Next, Brené talks to us about worthiness. She says there are many ways in which we hustle for worthiness around these issues, but the two that keep us the most quiet and still are hustling to be perceived as cool and in control. Wanting to be perceived as cool is our effort to minimize vulnerability in order to reduce the risk of being ridiculed or made fun of. We hustle for our worthiness by slipping on the emotional and behavioral straitjacket of cool and posturing as the tragically hip and the terminally better than. Being in control isn't always about the desire to manipulate situations, but often it's about the need to manage perception. We want to be able to control what other people think about us so that we can feel good enough. So that line, we want to be able to control what other people think about us so that we can feel good enough, I feel like it's much deeper in the psyche. I feel like we want to be able to control what other people think about us because we know tribally, going back to tribal instincts, that if we don't fit into the tribe, we're out of the tribe. So it goes into a survival instinct, if you will. But on a higher, more energetic level, because we are truly energetic beings with energy and souls and so forth. On that level, we also know that when we throw as a group, as a collective, a bunch of shade or put our focus on something, negatively or positively, we amplify the creation of that negativity or that positivity around another person. That's why gossip is such a karmic contract to another person. Any form of defamation, anything like that, you are casting on that person's well-being. So criticism for the sake of criticism, or the energy behind it, the meanness behind it, I think we inherently and as divine beings understand and know this already.
And I think this idea of wanting to be perceived as cool can actually unintentionally amplify and highlight our insecurities, because whatever we're insecure about and inwardly focusing on and trying to conceal or modify to present to the world is where our attention is going, and what we focus on expands. So
Yes.
we feed it and it grows. Maybe an imbalance, like if you have insecurity about how a certain part of your body looks and you're going to the gym to try to work out and you're extra focused on one, you might not realize that to other people it might be obvious what that is that you're trying to work on. Not as like a judgment thing, but like almost like a caricature. It'll be a significant difference. Maybe somebody's insecure about their height. I think about insecurities I've struggled with when I was in school, like about my weight and stuff like that, and I would wear a sweatshirt all the time. When I was younger, middle school, I would wear a sweatshirt over myself in the summer heat just because of my insecurities. Do you know, in my mind, and I don't know if it was as obvious outwardly, it'd be summer and I'd be sweating. I'd be like, nope. Sometimes it feels like it calls attention.
Interesting. I think everyone does this, Gabe, and it's part of the human experience. Otherwise, we'd all be growing old gracefully and doing exactly what we love to do instead of what we know we need to do to fit in. And so I think there's a fine balance in maintaining that worthiness and still staying authentic, but our comfort zone. And I think it's that sort of middle path, not getting too obsessed with something. For example, obsessing about being a certain way, looking a certain way, a caricature, as you're saying, versus being who we are. So I think there's a balance. There's a balance between holding on to who we truly are because we were created for that purpose, and then being a part of the tribe.
I wonder where the belief comes from that we'll be excluded from the tribe for being a certain way or not.
It
You
comes
know that,
from every single situation we know in our existence.
yes.
The other caveat that is linked to this is that the people who are authentic and are confident in their worthiness, those are the ones who everyone tries to be like and follow. And even if it's synthetic, the amplification of everybody focusing on that person as being cool makes them cool. Because if you look around, there's different definitions of beauty, of coolness, of what's okay, what's not okay in every single culture and group and setting. Brené goes on to say how much she missed while pretending to be cool. She realized that one of the reasons that she's afraid to try new things is her fear of being perceived as goofy and awkward.
Brené tells us betrayal is an important word with this guidepost. When we value being cool and in control over granting ourselves the freedom to unleash the passionate, goofy, heartfelt, and soulful expressions of who we are, we betray ourselves. When we consistently betray ourselves, we can expect to do the same to the people we love. When we don't give ourselves permission to be free, we rarely tolerate that freedom from others. We put them down, make fun of them, ridicule their behaviors, and sometimes shame them. We can do this intentionally or unconsciously. Either way, the message is, geez man, don't be so uncool. The Hopi Indians have a saying, to watch us dance is to hear our hearts speak. I know how much courage it takes to let people hear our hearts speak, but life is way too precious to spend it pretending like we're super cool and totally in control when we could be laughing, singing, and dancing. Maybe there is some difference in my definition of cool and what she's describing in this chapter. Some of the people that I thought were cool growing up and still do, Jimi Hendrix, doesn't strike me as a person who was trying very much to be any certain way. He was just living his life, and he dropped out of the military to pursue his music, and he was singing about what he thought about and cared about, and speaking his mind during interviews, and authentically being himself. I don't think that you can embody the same authenticity by replication. So the whole idea of trying and cool are almost incongruent. Trying to be cool is basically admission of insecurity.
Yes, it reminds me of when I was on a flight back from Europe, and I was flying back with this team of professional snowboarders for Europe, and they were flying into Denver. We were boarding the flight, and I was already there, and I was seated, and this whole team comes in, and they take up the whole rest of the row straight across the board. They start dumping all this gear and these backpacks. They're pulling all the stuff out, their laptops and iPads, and got everything. They're laying it out, and they've got all these coats and jackets and everything. And the flight attendant comes in, and she says, you're going to have to put all of that in the overhead and stuff underneath. They said, yeah, we know, we got it. And then the captain of the team, who happened to be sitting next to me on the flight, says, can you bring us beer? And he said, tell her what kind of beer you want. We hadn't even taken off yet, and he orders beers for everybody. And they all go, yeah, and they tell her. And then he turns to me and he points at me and he goes, what kind of beer do you want? And I go, oh, I don't drink beer. And he goes, what do you drink? And I go, well, I like vodka. He says to the flight attendant, bring her vodka. How do you like your vodka? So forth. That was the best flight. He sat next to me with his laptop showing me all this amazing stuff that they were coming to Denver, to the Rocky Mountains to do, and why they were coming there. It was such a great trip. This whole group of people, all of them were so unique, not only in the way that they could move and do what they did, but they were such, quote, cool people. They didn't care about what anybody else thought, to the point of ordering drinks before we'd even left the gate or had been told to put our seatbelts on. It was wonderful. They were wonderful people. I loved being with them.
That's amazing. I just got such a strong visual of being so immersed in your own joy.
Yes.
That you're not even thinking outside. You're just being in a state of joy, doing something you love, living a life you love. I think that that is what we maybe perceive as cool. Trying to emulate that is impossible.
Definitely, because they went into their own world that they had each individually created. They each had different ways that they would snowboard, different moves they had, different skills. everything. And they would tell me as he was showing the videos, and he'd say, that's this person over there. And he'd introduce me and so forth. And he'd be like, yeah. And they'd say, yeah, but I wanted that to be like this or whatever. But they were so immersed in their own world. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
I want to share really quick why I chose this book. Shame is the foundation to everything that blocks you with your money. It's the most critical thing. And what I do with my work is I help people overcome these blocks. But if we're not addressing shame, because it comes up with every single person, you will hinder your prosperity. You will hinder your abundance, and you will hinder your happiness. Through these ways of breaking down shame, of shining a light on it, knowing that you are enough, you're able to choose yourself, and you're able to have a life that you can live with yourself. And what's interesting about this is once you release that shame, your prosperity, your abundance, your happiness, the good relationships, they start to flow. We're truly grateful for your presence and participation in this journey of self-discovery and personal growth. Remember, your path to authenticity and prosperity is unique, and we're honored to be a part of it. If you found value in today's episode, we invite you to like, subscribe, and share it with others who might benefit. Until next time, embrace your imperfections and let them be your greatest gifts.
This is Gabe and Michae signing off from the Golden Seams. May you discover the courage to be vulnerable, the compassion to love yourself, and the wisdom to live wholeheartedly. May your path be golden as you find the strength to mend and beautify the broken parts of your life, weaving golden threads through the fabric of your authentic self, just like the art of kintsugi. We'll see you in our next episode.